The Court is bound to conclude, therefore, that the decision to advise Her Majesty to prorogue Parliament was unlawful because it had the effect of frustrating or preventing the ability of Parliament to carry out its constitutional functions without reasonable justification. The next and final question, therefore, is what the legal effect of that finding is, and therefore what remedies the Court should grant. The Court can certainly declare that the advice was unlawful. The Inner House went further and declared that any prorogation resulting from it was null and of no effect. The government argues that the Inner House could not do that because the prorogation was a, quote, proceeding in Parliament, end quote, which, under the Bill of Rights of 1688, cannot be impugned or questioned in any court. But it is quite clear that the prorogation is not a proceeding in Parliament. It takes place in the House of Lords chamber, in the presence of members of both houses, but it is not their decision. It is something which has been imposed upon them from outside. It is not something on which members can speak or vote. It is not the core or essential business of Parliament which the Bill of Rights protects. Quite the reverse. It brings that core or essential business to an end. This Court has already concluded that the Prime Minister's advice to Her Majesty was unlawful, void, and of no effect. This means that the order in Council to which it led was also unlawful, void, and of no effect, and should be quashed. This means that when the Royal Commissioners walked into the House of Lords, it was as if they had walked in with a blank sheet of paper. The prorogation was also void and of no effect. Parliament has not been prorogued. This is the unanimous judgment of all 11 justices. It is for Parliament, and in particular the Speaker and the Lord Speaker, to decide what to do next. Unless there is some parliamentary rule of which we are unaware, they can take immediate steps to enable each House to meet as soon as possible. It is not clear to us that any step is needed from the Prime Minister, but if it is, the Court is pleased that his counsel have told the Court that he will take all necessary steps to comply with the terms of any declaration made by this Court.
Well, quite remarkable, a comprehensive condemnation of the government actions from the Supreme Court, ruling that prorogation was unlawful, void and of no effect. The President of the Supreme Court, and there is no further appeal on this, President of the Supreme Court ruling that it is now up to the Speakers of the Lords and the Commons to decide what they want to do. But given that Parliament now legally has not been prorogued, that means that the state opening of Parliament on the 14th of October has been cancelled. And it also means that those laws which were lost with prorogation are now back in action. That includes ones relating to domestic abuse. Well, let's first of all get the reaction from our legal expert here with me. Catherine Baxter, quite extraordinary.
Extraordinary. I think even the most hopeful people that wanted the Prime Minister to lose would have been shocked, not shocked, but surprised, pleasantly surprised. The Court went much further, I think, than many people thought they would have
gone.
Okay,
now let's go to the key points. Why was it justiciable? Why should they consider? What did she say? She
said they've always had the power, going back centuries, to review decisions made by parliamentarians. That is the very function of what the Court does. They have the power. It's unquestionable. As I said, going back, the supremacy of Parliament is what they are there to protect, and that's what they did.
Lewis Goodall, political reaction.
I am quite stunned, to be honest, Adam, and I'm just trying to sort of go through all of the political implications in my head. That could not have been worse for the government. What Lady Hale just did there on behalf of all 11 justices, and I think, and Lady Hale was quite keen to stress this, and I think rightly, that this was the unanimous decision of all 11 justices and therefore has even greater credibility than it would have if it had been a split decision, quietly and calmly excoriated everything the government and every government minister, including the Prime Minister, has said about prorogation since the prorogation was announced 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago. And the political implications are really quite profound. She's essentially said that the Prime Minister of this country advised Her Majesty the Queen to act unlawfully. Now, I think in any other situation, that would be, for any Prime Minister, completely crippling. In other times, I think, it would have almost certainly led to potentially for a Prime Minister to resign. That doesn't seem likely now, but truly extraordinary, I think, from Lady Hale.